many words.
Shri N. Ram Garu, senior journalist, former chairman and former editor-in-chief, The Hindu. Sri K. Srinivas Reddy Garu, chairman, Telangana Media Academy. Srimati Sangeeta Baru Pesharoti, President, Press Club of India. Sri Anantnath Garu, editor, The Caravan and former president, editor, Guilds of India. Sri Gautam Lahari Garu, senior journalist and Federation of Press Clubs. And Sri Vijay Kumar Reddy Garu, organizing representative and president of Press Club of Hyderabad. Sri Ramesh Garu, General Secretary, Press Club of Hyderabad. And office bearers of and members of press clubs from across India. Senior journalists, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome all of you to Hyderabad. And warm greetings from my Honorable Chief Minister Sri Revanth Reddy Garu and the people of Telangana. 8 press clubs have come together to establish this federation. Getting journalists from 8 different organizations to agree on the same story is itself a serious achievement. So perhaps the federation has already passed its first step. But there is a serious purpose behind today's gathering. Because journalism in India has never been just another profession. It has been part of the making of India itself. Look at the history of our freedom struggle. Mahatma Gandhi wrote and edited Young India, Navjivan, and Harijan, using journalism not merely to report a movement, but to argue, persuade, and mobilize. Baba Saheb Dr. B.R. Ambedkar founded Mook Naik, literally the leader of the voiceless, and later Bhaiskrit Bharat. Those names themselves tells us that journalism means to him the voiceless had to be given a voice. The excluded had to be brought into the national conversation. And Ambedkar was part of a much larger Indian tradition. Lokmanya Tilak used Kesari and Maratha to challenge colonial authority and awaken political consciousness. Before them, Dadabhai Nauroji had used Rashtragupta, the truth teller, as an instrument of social and political reform. Sri Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Ji Al Hilal became a powerful voice against colonial rule. And papers such as Amrit Bazar Patrika and The Hindu became important voices of Indian public opinion in age when expressing that opinion could itself invite the displeasure of the colonial government. These were very different publications founded by very different people, but there was a thread connecting all of them. journalism was not simply about producing news. I just wanted to stress on this point once again. Journalism was not just simply about producing news, it was about producing citizens. It informed people, it awakened them, it challenged authority. It gave political voice to those who had very little power of their own. These newspapers had to survive financially, of course, but their reason for existence was larger than their balance sheet. The element of commercialism was successfully integrated with the imperative of achieving an enlightened citizenry. That is an inheritance with remembering, and today in this meeting also. And that idea, the journalism, is also about producing citizens, is not merely a matter of history. We are entering the 88th year of our independence. Only days ago, Sri Mallikarjun Kharge, the president of the largest democratic political party and a leader of opposition of the upper house and the senior most legislators of this country, addressed a gathering at the Ramlila ground in Haldwani. 2 days later, a so-called purification ceremony was performed at that venue. I do not raise this as a question of one political party. The political party is incidental. The principle is not. Nearly 80 years after independence, when this happens, after a senior national leader has spoken at a public venue, surely it should provoke questions that cut across the party lines. What does it say about equality and dignity? About the distance we have traveled since Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the distance we still have to travel. The incident was reported, but journalism cannot always stop it at reporting just what happened. Sometimes journalism must also ask what it means. That was the tradition of the journalism, what we inherited. There is another story from the early years of independent India. In 1948, Jawaharlal Nehru inaugurated Shankar's Weeklies, founded by the great political cartoonist Shankar. Shankar caricatured Nehru relentlessly. Nehru's message to him was just 4 words: "Don't spare me, Shankar." That sentence contains something important about the democratic tradition we inherited. Democracy does not require people in power to enjoy criticism. It requires us to accept the legitimacy of criticism. Those of us in government will sometimes think journalists are unfair. Sometimes we will think you have misunderstood us. And occasionally we may even be right. But governments and journalists are not supposed to agree all the time. If they do, citizens should probably start worrying. Journalism performs one of democracy's most necessary functions. It makes power explain itself. There was a time when the office of the editor itself carried extraordinary weight in India. One distinguished editor famously described his position as the second most important job in the country. Perhaps that contained a little journalistic modesty. But the remarkable thing is that people understood what he meant. An editor could influence the national conversation. A proprietor like Ramnath Goenka, just now, Sri Ram N. Ramji also mentioned about the incident. I would like to quote the same kind of. A proprietor like Ramnath Goenka could take on governments and prime ministers through the power of his newspaper. The press could make governments uncomfortable. We should ask ourselves as difficult questions today. Can the editor of a newspaper still make that claim today? Not that he or she is the second most important person in India. That was perhaps always a little hubristic. But does the institution command the same authority? And if it does not, why not? Part of the answer is that journalism itself has changed. News organizations have to survive commercially. There is nothing wrong with that. Journalists need salaries. Newspapers need investment, technology, cost money. But journalism cannot become only a trade. Because a newspaper is selling a product, but it is also performing public function. The danger begins when we confuse the two. A newspaper must have a market, but journalism must have a purpose. That purpose is to inform the citizen, question power, uncover what is hidden, and give space to voices that otherwise may not be heard. That was true in Dadabhai's time. That was true in Tilak's time. That was true in Ambedkar's time. That was true in Gandhi's time. That was true in many decades in this country. It remains true even today also. And today the challenge is even greater. For most of human history, information was scarce. Now we are drowning in it. Social media has democratized speech in an extraordinary way. Anyone with a smartphone can speak to the world. That is, in many ways, a great expansion of freedom. But freedom has never meant the absence of responsibility. There is an old saying about liberty. My right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. The same principle must surely have some meaning in the digital world also. My freedom to speak cannot become a license to deliberately destroy another person's reputation with a falsehood. Freedom of expression cannot mean freedom from responsibility for what we express. And technology has made this challenge far more complicated. A rumor can cross India before a reporter has finished checking with whether it is true or not. A photograph can be manufactured. A voice can be cloned. Artificial intelligence can generate thousands of convincing words in seconds. And algorithms increasingly decide which voices are amplified and which are not. The loudest statement, the angriest statement, sometimes even the most outrageous statement can travel the farthest, not because it is true, but because it keeps us looking at the screen. Technology has democratized the rights to speak. It has not democratized the discipline of journalism. So the great shortage of our age is no longer information. The shortage is trust. And that may also be journalism's greatest opportunity. Because when everybody can publish, the journalist's most valuable position is no longer the printing press, its credibility. But we cannot defend journalism without defending journalists. We cannot ask a district reporter to fearlessly question powerful people while wondering whether his salary will arrive. We cannot speak eloquently about press freedom while ignoring the safety, dignity, and working conditions of those who practice it. I'm here, and also I'm therefore glad that this federation has placed the welfare of and protection of journalists among its objectives. And I hope you will pay a particular attention to journalists outside our metropolitan centers. A reporter in a district or a small town is often the first person to tell government that a school teacher has no attendance and a school has no teacher. A hospital has no doctor, a scheme has failed, or a citizen has simply been forgotten. For a government prepared to listen. A good reporter is sometimes the best early warning system we have. Friends, technologies will change, business models will change, platforms will come and go, governments certainly will come and go, but some things do not change. Power will always need scrutiny. Citizens will always need facts, and democracy will always need people willing to ask uncomfortable questions. So my request to this new federation is, do not merely become another organization. Become an institution. Defend journalists, defend professional standards, and defend journalism as something more than a commercial enterprise. Nearly 8 decades ago, Nehru told a cartoonist, which I have already mentioned, and again I would like to mention it again, don't spare me, Shankar. Perhaps that remains a good compact between journalism and public life. Do not spare those in power, but do not spare yourselves either. Hold us to account. Hold yourselves to your standards and let the citizen be the beneficiary of truth. The both. Telangana has always been a land where people speak their minds. The basic trait of Telangana is to express what we feel. Plainly and without fear is part of our character and has shaped our movements, our literature, and our culture. Our government respects that tradition. Freedom of expression carries great weight in Telangana, and those of us in public life must have the confidence to hear voices that disagree with us. So when Nehru said, don't spare me, Shankar, we understand the spirit of those words. Speak freely, question freely, and let those in power have the courage to listen. It gives me great pleasure to formally launch the Federation of Press Clubs here in Hyderabad. And I wish this federation becomes a great success and gives a light to the freedom of expression in this country, and many more the requirements of the journalists, the Federation will take care of all those things with a proper institutionalized activities. And once again, I wanted to make it very clear to the press clubs who all have come from all over the country, the Telangana's, it has two basic main traits. Those two traits are, one is it expresses everything without any fear. And the second trait is it believes in hosting. It loves to host the guests. And we always practice that. And we believe it, and we continue that. And the Press Club of Hyderabad, I appreciate for taking the initiative of inviting all the press clubs to this city and conducting this meeting. And definitely this government, on behalf of my Chief Minister and the entire cabinet, we assure you the freedom of expression is maintained and it will be maintained. And another request, while Srinivas Reddy was speaking, he made a small request about the land allotment to the Press Club of Hyderabad. Yes, we have already received the representation and it is under examination. And I can definitely assure you here, the government will positively consider it at the earliest, and we'll see to that, our press club, Hyderabad Press Club, is going to be a model press club for this country. Thank you very much, sir. And Jai Hind and Jai Telangana.
We express our deep gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Shri Bhatti Vikramarka Garu, for his powerful reminders about the history of media and journalism in India, and also for the direction and the promise and the hope that his words have brought to us today. I request everyone to please be seated because we are yet to conclude the program. We have a few more events happening. There was a World Photography Day contest that was conducted by the Press Club Hyderabad, and we are about to give away the prizes to all the winners. May I call all the winners of the photography contest? I'd like to start with the consolation prizes. Yes,
మిత్రులందరూ వచ్చినటువంటి మిత్రులందరికీ it's a request from my side on behalf of the government of Telangana. Please do come for the evening dinner which has been hosted by the state government honoring all the press clubs which all have come all over the country. Where at Praja Bhavan in the evening, 7:30 onwards.
Would like to respond, sir?
Yeah. No, it is.
What can we say? We are overwhelmed by I fully agree with every word, every nuance, every implication of what the Deputy CM, the Honorable Deputy CM has said. He has spent a lot of time here. We have imposed quite a lengthy session on him, and there is more this evening. So this should not become an endangered species, this kind of government. So I'm very happy. So on behalf of everyone here, on behalf of the President of the Federation, I don't know if I should arrogate to myself that, okay. But as a friend of the Federation of Press Clubs, I want to express our sincere thanks and appreciation. And we want you to continue doing this kind of work for the freedom of the press. It's important that we stress social responsibility also.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
I hope what the Deputy Chief Minister's speech and his sentiments can be made a Telangana model. We know many other sinister models, and this becomes the Telangana model of press freedom and constitutional governance.
Full text we are going to print in our Scribes News of Indian Journalists Union. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will now go ahead with announcing the winners of the photography contest. I'll start with K. Jayakrishna from Eenadu. K. Jayakrishna garu వేదికపైకి వచ్చి వారి కె జయకృష్ణ గారు ఈనాడు హైదరాబాద్ నుంచి కన్సలేషన్ ప్రైజ్ అందుకుంటున్నారు. జయకృష్ణ గారికి అభినందనలు. మన అందరి కరతాళ ధ్వనులతో కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్. వంద మాటలు చెప్పలేని ఒక్క చిత్రం చెప్పేస్తుంది అంటారు. సో వన్ ఫోటోగ్రాఫ్ కెన్ క్యాప్చర్ వాట్ a million words may not be able to. Hence this photography contest holds a great significance. Congratulations to all the winners. K. Jayakrishna from Eenadu. I'd like to invite K. Durga Rao from the Deccan Chronicle, Hyderabad. Velugu Patrika nunchi Mahimala Bhaskar Reddy garu. Mahimala Bhaskar Reddy from Velugu, V6. I think the stage is about to shake. I request all the others to get off the stage because Mahimala Bhaskar Reddy from V6. G. Ravikumar from Andhra Jyoti, Mahbub Nagar, receiving the consolation prize. Consolation prize అందుకుంటున్నారు G. Ravikumar garu, Andhra Jyoti Patrika nunchi. N. Giri from Eenadu. N. Giri from Eenadu, Hyderabad. N. Giri from Eenadu, Hyderabad, consolation prize అందుకుంటున్నారు. అలాగే K. Satish గారు సాక్షి దినపత్రిక నుంచి సిద్దిపేట నుంచి K. Satish, request you to please come on to the stage. K. Satish from Sakshi. Primary education అనే కేటగిరీలో ప్రత్యేక బహుమతి అందుకుంటున్నారు ముచ్చర్ల శ్రీనివాస్ from the Hans India, Nalgonda. Mucharla Srinivas from the Hans India has won the special prize in the primary education category. And now I'm about to announce the third prize. in this photography contest. A big round of applause for B. Gopi. Of course, all the winners, but B. Gopi from Namaste Telangana, Mahbub Nagar. B. Gopi Ravali Vedik Mediki. I'd like to invite to receive the second prize from Namaste Telangana, Veeragoni Rajnikant Gaud. Veeragoni Rajnikant Gaud, రెండో బహుమతి అందుకుంటున్నారు నమస్తే తెలంగాణ దినపత్రిక నుంచి. అలాగే రజనీకాంత్ గారు మీరేనా? కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్. అండ్ మొదటి బహుమతి అందుకోబోతున్నారు మనందరి కరతాళ ధ్వనులతో సాక్షి దినపత్రిక సూర్యాపేట నుంచి యాకయ్య గారు. ఏ యాకయ్య. A. Akaya is receiving the first prize in the World Photography Day contest. A. Akaya from Sakshi, Suryapet. A big round of applause for all the winners, please. ఇవాల్టి ఈ ఫోటోగ్రఫీ కాంటెస్ట్ విజేతలకి జడ్జెస్గా వ్యవహరించిన వారు కేశవులు గారు. అందరికీ సుపరిచిత ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్ ఈనాడు నుండి కేశవుల్ గారు వేదిక మీదకి రావాలని కోరుతున్నాం. అలాగే కె శ్రీనివాసరెడ్డి గారు, ఎడిటర్ ఆఫ్ తెలంగాణ టుడే. అలాగే వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు ఈనాడు ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్గా ఉన్నారు. జడ్జెస్ని సాధారణంగా వేదికపైకి ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం, వారిని సత్కరించుకోబోతున్నాం. We will have 2 group photographs, one with all the winners and the judges and the esteemed guests on the stage, and another photograph with the members of the federation along with our distinguished guests on stage. I request everyone else to step back for the time being. A. Yakai garu from Sakshi, first prize andukunnaru. Vasant garu, ఈనాడు ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్గా వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు జడ్జిగా వ్యవహరించారు. వారికి ధన్యవాదాలు చెప్తూ I request all the judges and the winners to please remain on stage so that we can all have a group photograph. దయచేసి కేవలం విశిష్ట అతిథులు, ముఖ్య అతిథి ప్రస్తుతం విన్నర్స్తో తీసుకోబోతున్న ఫోటోగ్రాఫ్. అలాగే వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు, విజయ్ కుమార్ గారు, మీ దృష్టికి ఒక విషయం తీసుకొస్తున్నాం. వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు 20,000 రూపాయల కార్పస్ ఫండ్ ఇవ్వబోతున్నారు హైదరాబాద్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్కి. ఒక కరతాళ ధ్వనులతో అందరూ అభినందనలు తెలుపుదాం. మిస్టర్ వసంత్ కుమార్ has just donated 20,000 rupees to the Press Club Hyderabad to be part of the corpus fund. మరికొన్ని ఫోటోగ్రాఫ్స్ తీసుకోబోతున్నాం మన ముఖ్య అతిథి అలాగే విశిష్ట అతిథులతో కలిసి. I request the federation members to please come forward to take a photograph. ఫెడరేషన్ సభ్యులందరూ కూడా ముందుకు రావాలని కోరుతున్నాం to take a photograph. I request the members of the Federation of Press Clubs to please come forward to take a group photograph, post which we will have another photograph with the members of the jury and then the executive committee and the governing members of the Press Club of Hyderabad. May I request all our guests on stage to please step back and sit in their chairs so that the rest of the people taking photograph can stand behind. దయచేసి సభ్యులందరూ వెనక కుర్చీలో ఆసీనులు కావాలని కోరుతున్నాం. I request the Honorable Chief Guest to please be seated. I request our distinguished guests to please take a seat so that we may all take another photograph. I invite Snehashish Shurji to please come and give the vote of thanks, and then we'll have the national anthem and proceed for lunch. Snehashish Shurji from Kolkata Press Club requests you to please give a brief vote of thanks.
Most respected Sri Malluvati Vikramankaji, the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, and the guardian of contemporary Indian journalism, Sri N. Ram, Srinivasa Garu, the chairman of the Telangana Media Academy, and all others on the dais, and my esteemed colleagues in the media fraternity.